There was a man who lived with passion every task in the fields. From before dawn he would take his machete and set out for the crops. Neither sore feet nor fatigue could stop him. He was a man with a serious look, a firm voice and unwavering decisions. He had a son, barely 8 years old, a boy who once decided to accompany him to clean the corn. That time, the little boy did not understand why he had to get up so early and work under the sun, with his clothes stained with dust and a machete in his hand. The father, stubbornly determined, used to divide the land into sections, assigning the boy a smaller space while he covered the more difficult areas. The boy watched with trepidation, for he did not understand how anyone could face the work from sunrise to sunset without complaining. He wondered why his father didn't call him in for a meal together, or at least a 5-minute break. However, he could see that the man continued with machete in hand, blow after blow against the brush. Such dedication was something the boy admired, even if it was a bit intimidating. In the daily routine, the father did not make long speeches. He limited himself to giving brief indications, always with that firm demeanor that transmitted the desire to excel. One morning, the boy arrived a little late and found his father working at the top of the crop on a slope. It was unusual, since the man usually started at the bottom. The boy approached and noticed that his dad was keeping his distance, almost avoiding contact. There was no extensive scolding or explanation. The boy was simply ordered to clean the lower part, while the father continued upstairs. As the sun advanced in the sky, the son noticed his father looking rather serious. He tried to call him and received no answer. At noon, they barely exchanged a glance during lunch. This attitude puzzled the boy, who wondered silently if he had done something wrong. With a half-empty stomach and confusion fluttering in his mind, he continued to pull weeds. Fatigue was building up, but the father showed no signs of stopping the work. Around mid-afternoon, the father asked the boy to bring a mare. The boy, not knowing what the request was for, reluctantly ran to comply. As he saddled the animal, he imagined that he would be sent on some additional task, perhaps to check cattle or bring back some lost tool. Still, he didn't comment. Back in the cornfield, he saw his father descend with a pale expression on his face. The man climbed onto the mare with a grimace of pain, and the boy noticed that he barely spoke. When they arrived home, the family realized that the father had been bleeding since early in the morning. He had cut his knee with the machete at the beginning of the day's work, tied an improvised rag around his knee, and had silently endured the whole day. His reasoning was that he should not lose working hours for a scratch. With the help of several neighbors, they managed to get him off the mare, clean the wound, and take him to rest. The little boy watched in amazement. He did not understand why his father preferred to endure such pain rather than return home and heal. He witnessed the absolute dedication that drove his father to resist. He was marked by that image. The pale, staggering man, but stubborn in his conviction not to give up. Years later, this boy, now grown up, worked in a workshop. Whenever the slightest physical discomfort arose, one of his co-workers would excuse himself for not showing up to work. A slight cough or a minor ache would become the perfect excuse. He remembered his father's determination, the bloody knee, and the stubbornness he showed in the face of any obstacle. Of course, he understood that health is vital, and that straining the body can lead to serious problems. But he also felt anger at observing people who avoid even the slightest discomfort and abandon indispensable tasks, indifferent to those who depend on their efforts. That frustration would flare up when she heard phrases like, "I stayed home because I woke up with a little cough," or "The flu prevents me from moving." Each word was a trigger that brought to mind the story of her father, who would never have stopped at something he considered minor. It was not a matter of irresponsibility in the face of health, but of understanding that there are times when a tireless spirit is needed. An example of perseverance that not only put physical strength to the test, but also the will of each person. The son, now an adult in charge of other tasks, carried that story with him in every word he spoke. That child, who one day watched his father descend with machete in hand, grew up seeing in his example the truest proof of fortitude. Firmness was not empty stubbornness, but a legacy of responsibility that sometimes shines brightly when fatigue or the temptation to give up knocks at the door. Thus, the father's rage at unjustified absences is understood when he looks back and discovers the mark left by his sacrifice. Today, those listening to this story can reflect on what really matters: the will to stand up, the responsibility to deliver, the courage to be aware of what it means to work as a team, and the honor of not failing when others depend on our help. So, every time we lack momentum, let us remember that wounded knee that stood firm between corn furrows, driven by the love of work and the desire not to give in to what can be overcome with a little courage. The message this story leaves behind today: perseverance strengthens the spirit when we face small setbacks. Those who learn to move forward, even with their own limitations, discover that commitment not only honors duty, but also nurtures personal dignity and a sense of family. No one progresses without determination and dedication. Habakkuk 3:19. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of the deer and carries me to heights I could not reach on my own. De Dios.
Fluye el viento, fluye el mar. El río avanza sin mirar atrás. Las piedras no pueden su paso frenar. Cada tropiezo, cada lección fortalece más mi corazón. Yo fluiré como un río sin temor, con paciencia, con entrega y con amor. No me rindo, sigo firme en mi misión. Dios me guía con su luz y su visión.
Aún en la sombra puedo caminar, porque su voz me vuelve a levantar.
No es la ausencia de pruebas mi bendición, es su mano al darme dirección.
Soy de Dios, mi identidad.